Welcome to Empower Engine's Power Map Modification tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll cover a couple of things. We'll review map ownership, and then I'll show you how to use the settings list to change a map you've created. You can only edit a map you own, i.e. a map you've created. If you're not the owner and you want to edit it, you can copy a map to your My Maps and then edit your copy. Of course, you can cosmetically change a map you don't own, switching to Street View or overlaying county lines, but these are short-term changes, and they'll be the subject of another video. Distribution maps, on the other hand, are not editable. So let's see how this is done. Let's assume that in this scenario, you're doing organizing work in Georgia's 6th Congressional District. For the purposes of the demo, we'll begin by using this map that shows President Trump's precinct-level net victory margin from the 2016 presidential election in Fulton County, Georgia. This is an important part of the 6th Congressional District, which was flipped in 2018. Using our platform, you can change the data point, the granularity, or the color scheme in mere click. You can also make advanced changes here that are not available during the map creation process. Since Empower Engine is ultimately about understanding data and sharing it with your team, the first thing I'll show you is how to change the name or add a description to a map you've made. After all, if you're sending a map to your teammate, you should add a description. Using the settings list at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you can change the name or add a description of your map by following this link. In this case, you can add a description describing what data is included or any other factor you feel necessary. But what if you want to change the location the map is showing? Let's say you want to look at the 6th district as a whole. You can do that from this screen. You don't need to start the process over again. In the same settings list, select Boundary. From this screen, you can select Congressional District from the District Type drop-down. This step is optional. You can simply start typing Congressional District and you'll see the option appear. This feature is also useful if you accidentally selected the wrong boundary, but it's worth noting that you can only change the boundary to something you have access to. Some users with a single district account will be limited in this respect. The locality isn't the only thing you can change. From this single color map, you can see the areas where Trump's net margin was high. But election results are sometimes easier to understand when you see the more traditional red and blue scale. Typically, when you're showing the density of a certain data point, such as Democratic voting population, you would use a sequential single color scale. In that case, it would make most sense to use blues. But when you're looking at something like election results, where the degrees of variation are important to highlight, you would use a diverging scale, such as red to blue. In this case, we want to highlight the Clinton precincts in blue, the Trump precincts in red, and the competitive precincts in white. On the settings list, on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, select Color Scale. Now select Red to Blue Inverse. From this screen, you can also determine the number of bins or intervals and the method by which it's done. The default setting is in-tiles, which colors the same number of districts, each color, because it's good at showing local variation. But there are times that you want equal intervals, which provides a linear scale that's good for showing macro trends. If you want the middle color to contain the value 0, which is very useful when you're showing win margins of election results, we have 0-centered versions of both of those binning methods. Since we're looking at the Trump win margin, we'll select 0-centered number tiles. We can also change the number of segments or bins that are colored on the map. In a case like this is where we're trying to show variation so we can highlight those truly competitive precincts. We can give the map 7 bins, increasing it from the default setting, which is 5. Now you can see all our changes taking place. In mere seconds, we have completely changed our map. But let's say that it's not the color you want to change, but the data point. That's equally easy. For example, let's say you want to see just the Clinton vote percentage by precinct, as opposed to Trump's margin of victory. In the settings list, select the dataset column. On the next screen, the dataset column field, you can simply type the column that you want to map. As you can see, if I start typing Clinton, you can see the options appear automatically. To pull it all together, you would likely want to change the color scale to blues and the number of bins to 5 with this map you've just created. You can see our map change, and now we're looking at the Clinton vote only. Now let's say in another situation you want to change the level of detail or granularity of your map. You can only change your map to a level of detail where the data exists. Let's say you have this map of Spanish speakers in Fulton County by census tract, and you want to see it by census block group. Once again, go to the settings list at the bottom of the screen, but this time select granularity. On the next screen, you'll see your different options. Here we have census block group, census tract, and county. You'll pick census block group and save your map. Once again, you won't be able to see this data by precinct because the Census Bureau doesn't provide it by precinct. Using the Empower Engine platform, you can make these changes in just a few clicks. We make map making extremely easy.